Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And the news we've all been waiting for. Murray the Magician will be live at the Tropicana from October 3rd, 2018 at the Laugh Factory. He'll be doing 6 days a week, 7 p.m. Thursday and Saturdays and 5 p.m. Sunday through Wednesdays with his brand new show. Murray, thank you for talking to me. How are you?
Thanks, Alex. I'm great. So good talking to you. I'm here in Reno, actually, ironically, at a Laugh Factory in Reno, the Silver Legacy, and then we go home on Monday. So we're really excited about the news, and we're thrilled, of course, that we haven't had much of a break since we left Planet Hollywood to go to the Tropicana. So we're thrilled. It's like coming back home, you know.
It's very interesting. I mean, your life is half on the road and half in Las Vegas. You've been at Planet Hollywood for years, and before that, you were at the Trop. So I guess you're coming home, are you?
Yeah, we did 3 years at the Trop, back in 2012, and it's funny, the valet people, the crafts dealers, the janitors, they're all the same people. Like, it's really, the Tropicana is still one of those casinos that have that old school mentality, almost like, I guess, Circus down the way, and also like the Flamingo. These staff have been there for years, so it's kind of neat. When I pulled in about a week ago to have some meetings, they're like, "Oh my God, we hear you're coming back! Finally, we've been waiting for 3 years for you to come back." So it was really sweet because it's like a small little family in that hotel. It's not a monopoly, and it's not a corporate situation. It is corporate, obviously, but it's.
I have big respect for you. Anybody who can survive in Las Vegas has to be talented and has to have a skill. It seems to me there's never been a more difficult time to survive in Las Vegas. It's tough out there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think the real talent is, it's not so much walking on stage and doing your thing. Like, if you can't do that, you wouldn't be in Vegas trying to do it, would you? But I think the real talent is the longevity and figuring out a way to last. You always look at things, I always look at things in a grand scheme of things. Why is Tide Bleach still popular? Why is Coca-Cola still popular? Why is the Slinky still popular? And it's these amazing brands and people they have working with them, learning to go with the times, whether the times are good or bad. Because we'll be 80 one day going, oh, it's not like the old days. And the people I meet now who are 80s, they're talking about it's not like the old days of the 1940s. And it's true. I think the real test of time and how you last in show business is watching the way things change. And don't be angry with it or aggressive with it. Just kind of learn. Even though we do get upset, I think you kind of learn how things change and you mold to it. It's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it. And I've always lived my life that way.
And it's very interesting how you operate your business. I mean, it's sort of threefold, isn't it? There's the live stuff. You're in Reno at the moment. You're back in Vegas from October 3rd. You've got your YouTube channel, which is an extraordinary success with 1 billion hits. And then you've got the TV work that you do. The most appearances on any reality show from a magician. That's quite something.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Somebody mentioned that to me a few weeks ago, and I said, "You've got to be kidding me." And I just thought of that. And it's true, because when I first came to Vegas in 2002 at the Frontier, I never did reality TV. I didn't do anything. I did real TV, and that was a big deal and very hard to get onto, even like it's hard to get onto now. But reality was just a thing. And I saw William Hung singing on America's Got Talent, and he was singing this song, "She Bangs, She Bangs," and he was becoming famous, and he was horrible. All due respect to him, he was horrible, but it wasn't about the talent. It was about the hook and just the sheer interest of someone having the balls to do what he did and get attention. And he was kind of cute and funny and quirky. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I spent all my life, I got all these awards, and no one knows who the hell I am. And here's a guy just not even singing correctly, and he's famous. And I thought, wait a minute, that's when I opened the Frontier. So all of a sudden, on my days off, I would drive to LA. In addition, for all the reality shows I could, because I realized as a magician, that's unique to a reality TV show. Because with reality TV, you can only do so much on reality TV to get a reaction. And I thought, well, there's not many magicians jumping on the bandwagon, so I went for it. And my first thing was, ironically, was Comedy Central's Reno 911, which is funny because it's a scripted show that's kind of based on a reality premise, but it isn't reality. It's a scripted kind of improv show. So it's kind of funny how that was one of my first ones. It was obviously a huge hit and a success. And then from then on, we just kept doing stuff, And now, what's funny is, this is my, I think, 11th or 12th year season on Pawn Stars. And when I go back to Vegas on Wednesday, we shoot another Pawn Star episode. They just signed another 30 episodes for the Pawn Stars, which is unbelievable.
I guess people are never going to get sick of that program because it's basically finding jewels and then reselling them for 500 times more than you bought them for. It's sort of Antiques Roadshow made relevant for 2018, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's that type of programming. I always say, remember that famous painter? He died in his early 50s with the big curly afro hair, and he would always paint. I think his name's Bob something. He used to paint these paintings for half an hour, and he used to talk about little trees and little birds, and a really, really famous painter. I'm trying to think of the name right now. Do you think I can? And I just saw his picture yesterday. But he would paint for half an hour on TV, and every week it would be him painting this painting of and he'd just smear the canvas, and then he'd actually come back around, and all of a sudden it would be a lake with birds and trees, and such phenomenal. But the point was, you watch this thing for half an hour, and he's on TV for years. Why? Is because it was programming that didn't need, like Murder, She Wrote. If you didn't watch it at the beginning, you lost the whole plot because you didn't know what the heck happened. Well, with Pawn Stars, or like the program I just mentioned, this painting program, you can turn on anytime, cook dinner, talk to the kids, kind of watch it, kind of not. It's still enjoyable background TV that is good for anyone from age 2 to 102. That's not going to be offensive. So they really hit their mark right, and it involves everybody, whether you're rich, poor, indifferent. We always love finding that treasure that's worth a mint, or not, So they've been very fortunate.
You said earlier you've got to have a gimmick, and you certainly have. Your poster for the new show at Tropicana is the hair and the glasses. I mean, this is what makes you instantly recognizable, and it's thrilling actually to see you playing on that. You're playing to your strengths.
Yeah, well, it was Lefty's idea. He did something for me a few years ago where it was just from my eyes up, but that's really funny. It's actually very strong because it makes your head bigger and makes what stands out. And then like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm driving down the Las Vegas Boulevard, and I see Rod Stewart's playing at the Coliseum, and he was one of my inspirations along with Phil Diller for my hair, and it's just the back of his head, and it says Rod Stewart's back, and I'm like, man, only Rod Stewart could do that because that's the only person that wears hair like that. And then Doug did this little postcard thing for me a few years ago, and I thought, oh my God, that actually works. So whenever you move a venue or a new venue or a new show, you really want to have new marketing and new advertising. Even though you might be in love with the stuff you have, you got to change it. It's good for marketing, it's good for people. So we needed something new, and pretty quickly, because like we just shut our show down like 12 days ago, and we got to open up in 2.5 weeks. So I thought, let's go with this advertising things. I think it'll work, and everyone who's seen it has been like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And we've had it around for a couple of years now. We just never kind of released it, but that was Lefty's doing. I said, let's go for it. I love it. So
will Doug be coming with you to the Tropicana?
Yes, yeah, Lefty will be coming with us, and he's got a whole new look, and he's got a new effect he's working on. He's actually designing it with one of the top designers in magic, Don Wayne, who helped Copperfield with Vanishing the Statue of Liberty and Vanishing the Jet, and Don Wayne's one of the greatest minds in magic. So they're working on some new bits for the Trop. And I've got about 4 or 5 new tricks as well. That's one of the reasons I'm here in Reno. I'm working out all the new bits. Every night I'm putting new stuff in, and it's funny because it can be a real rodeo when you're putting new tricks in and new jokes and stuff. But it's exciting. Like it's kind of like going to kindergarten again, learning how to tie your shoes and making friends again. Because with these new magic bits or anything, it's so strange when you grab something new and you work with it and it feels like you'll never get it. And then you do 1,000 performances and it's like you never could not do it. So we're excited.
The friendship between you and Doug is inspiring. On stage, I suppose he's your special act, but he's a remarkable magician. It's great to have a friend in this business because I think it would be very lonely without it, wouldn't it?
It is. We're not a double act, but indirectly we are. You know what I mean? Doug is kind of like the secret weapon to my show, where you don't expect him. He comes out obviously as a stage tech janitor type character. And then about halfway through the show, that's when he actually does his act. And his act is award-winning. He's won over 15 awards with his act. He's also, last year, he won the top sleight of hand award with it from the Society of American Magicians, which is really a cool thing to have. So he's a secret weapon. And also, ironically, people don't realize when I do my TV shows, he's my secret weapon as well. He's always behind the camera, making sure the shot's done right. And he's also the details guy who does a lot of my stuff when I do work on TV to make sure things are just right. Because it's nice to have that, second person behind the camera.
And he's also got your back as a friend as well, a hugely talented guy. Let's talk about the new show then at the Laugh Factory at Tropicana, opening October the 3rd. Murray the Magician will be the new show. What will we get? I mean, we put you on our Best of Las Vegas for the last few years as the best family show at 4 o'clock. I mean, you really do enchant the kids, and it's a beautiful show for the entire family. Interestingly, though, you're going to 7 o'clock 2 days a week. Will you do more adult stuff then? Will the show change?
Not too much. My stuff, everything I create to go on television. You know what I mean? Primetime TV and also YouTube. And everything I want a child from 2 years old to 102 to watch. Will there be innuendos and little side jokes that adults will get? Of course. My show's always had that. And it's important because I want the adults enjoy my show just as much as kids. So it's almost like watching a band. You know what I mean? If you watch Aerosmith, kids who are 10 years old and people who are 110 love Aerosmith because music's music. And so with my magic, everything I always try to create across the board so everyone can come in and enjoy it and not be offended by it. But like I said, we got some new tricks. We have a new opening in my show, which I'm really excited about. I actually tested it back at Planet Hollywood for a couple of days before I left just to see how it would work out, and it's kind of a new idea I came up with just a few weeks ago, sitting at home watching TV, and I just wrote this thing on a piece of paper, and it's actually turned out to be, I think it'll be one of my better tricks, and it's brand new. It's my own, so we're excited to be debuting it, very quick, and you don't see it coming. So we're excited about that, and of course with Lefty's new things, and then we got 4 or 5 new tricks coming in. So it's definitely going to be a new show, an intimate show, and we love that room. That room is, old school comedy world, and I love that because the best thing about my show, because I'm competing with a lot of bigger magicians on the Strip, the cool thing with my show is you don't get any closer to the magic than Laugh Factory. I mean, you're almost on stage, and that's kind of a cool perspective when you watch magic, at least for a lot of fans and audiences coming in.
And you know what? I love that you're grown up about that, and we all are, that we know that different showrooms aim at different people with different audiences, and it's great to know that the Copperfields are out there doing big spectaculars with huge budgets, but equally you can stand on a stage, and my biggest praise for you has always been your wit. I mean, that's what you rely on, isn't it? It's your connection with the audience. It's not about the spectacle, it's the humour. It's almost a Tommy Cooper-esque way of throwing the magic away. You're there to see Murray, not necessarily the magic.
Yes. Yeah, and I love Tommy Cooper. It's funny you brought him up. He's one of my favorite acts in the world, and anyone who doesn't know Tommy Cooper, obviously in England they all do, but in the States, you can always find him online, and he was just so funny. He's funny now, and he's dead, and ironically, as you know, he actually died on stage. He really did die on stage.
Did, yeah.
But he died the way he wanted to, and he was just so damn funny and witty. He just saw the obvious and made it funny, and I love that, and that's always been my way. And there's really no comedy magicians in the world right now that are really comedy magicians. That's kind of a void right now. All these magicians I see that are touring with different groups around the world, I see them always trying to be cool and hip. Well, cool and hip's great when you have a 10-year window to look cool and hip, but to be brandable is a whole different thing. And I've always looked at the longevity, and I've always looked up to people, like the Carrot Tops and the Howard Sterns and the Liberace and the Lucille Balls, and I go, why them? It's because they had this beautiful brandable look, and I think that's half the battle of selling a ticket and getting notoriety, and hopefully, going further in this business and staying around.
I've been sacked many, many times. I've left jobs many times, and I think anybody in show business that's successful has been there. I want to talk to you about leaving the Planet Hollywood showroom for the last time. Was it sad or was it exciting that you're going on to the Trop?
It was exciting, to be honest with you. Over the last 3.5 years, we've had 3 different owners of that theater. And originally it was a guy named John Payton, and then it came down to a gentleman named Norbert Alman, who owns the Crazy Girls, and then finally Caesars. And I'm telling you, every new owner that I had to deal with, everyone's got their love and hate relationships. And it was always that time where when there's a new owner, when a new owner buys a hotel, they can get rid of restaurants, shows, anything, staff. So when that happens, you always go, man, maybe this is the time we're leaving. And then, of course, you have the love and hate relationship with certain things they want to change and they don't like or do like. So there's been, I'd say about 4 or 5 times where Lefty's, I've called them and say, hey, guess what? We're out this weekend. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like anybody with any job. And he's like, hang on, Murray, just calm down, relax. It's not that bad. And then we stay, And then just the way things have been going, and I love Caesars Entertainment. They're an amazing, amazing company. But if you look across the board, there are so many magicians at Caesars Entertainment. It's unbelievable. It's the #1 magic show corporation in Las Vegas. And MGM now only has one magician, which is David Copperfield. And Tropicana is an island. It's their own world. So it's nice going back to a place where you really appreciate it because you're the only one. It's that whole, big fish in a small pond thing. And I do like that. And of course, I've been in Tropicana before. But Caesars is phenomenal to me. But there's so many magicians in that world right now. It almost, you're competing against yourself in that world. You know what I mean? So it was for me, it's a great thing. We're actually thrilled. And I love Caesars, And would I ever go back to them down the road? Sure. I never cut anything out. I'm young in the business, and I'm going to be around for a long, long time. But it was the right time for us to leave for the right circumstances, and we're thrilled. You know what I mean? So we're excited. I put my 30-day notice in, and I know they were talking about towards the end of the year changing a bunch of stuff because obviously Chris Angel was coming into Planet Hollywood, And I wanted to make sure I left before that because of the fact that I had 2 or 3 other offers on the table. And I thought this is the time to exercise them. It's a great time because, I already had another magician in my showroom, and then we have a medalist in my showroom. I'm like, could I have any more people in my showroom? And now across the hallway, I got another magician coming in. That's the last thing I need, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a taco stand, and then there's 3 other taco stands. I'm thinking, we're all selling tacos. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's time for me to go out. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to call the shots and not let them tell me what to do or where to go. And it was mutually agreed upon, and we both love each other. Caesars was extremely amazing to me. And likewise, I try to treat them with all respect. So we left on great terms. So it's all good.
I say this with the greatest respect. I don't know anybody with more tenacity than you. At a time when I see more and more big shows closing, little shows closing, you constantly reinvent yourself and you remain live and on stage. And for that, you have my ultimate admiration. And I think you have a great class about you too. Things happen in this business that are somewhat unedifying and you always keep your mouth shut. It must be difficult to do that sometimes.
Sure it is. Of course it is. You have a beer with me at the corner bar. After midnight, we're sitting around just, shooting the shit, talking. I'll tell you how I really feel, and I think everyone has that. But there's also a professional side. There's also a professional side where you have to be honest, professional, and be an adult. You know what I mean? And when you're in this business, you can't be emotional. You really got to separate those two things. I don't think a lot of people always have that, and I do. I understand business. I also understand a personal side of things, and everything I do or reasons I've moved or changed is pure business. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Businesses change, but the thing is the ones that last the longest are the ones that keep changing and reinventing themselves. And the people I look up to and the businesses I look up to are people like McDonald's, Walt Disney World. The reason they've lasted and been around so long is because they've changed and become hip, more healthy, or at least appear to be more healthy and good and appeal to more people and stuff like that. And to last for so long, every 10 years things change, usually drastically up or down. I think it's very important that you do that. I mean, look at Madonna as a singer. She's always changed. That's why she's always been around.
She's 107 now. Did you know that?
Exactly. She was at the Last Supper, but she looks amazing. And you look at Dolly Parton, who's been around forever. But she's kept trendy and cool and also still... Look at Barry Manilow. I mean, you and I are both fans of him. And look how he's still doing it and doing it right. And he's walking on stage now. His outfits look amazing. He's using LED walls with cool images. Well, that all of a sudden, singing a song that's 40 years old, but the song now becomes new again because of the imagery, So it's wonderful.
You, my friend, are a survivor, and I respect you ultimately for that. You've got a great family show. If you want to see Murray the Magician, he'll be live at the Laugh Factory at Tropicana Hotel and Casino. And again, to be part of that establishment on that corner of Las Vegas, I mean, probably the busiest of all the junctions in Las Vegas, on the corner of MGM, on the corner of New York, and there you are at Tropicana. It must be thrilling.
I'm thrilled. Supposedly, I've heard that is the busiest intersection in the United States. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's what I've actually heard. I heard that years ago. So it's either that one or it's the one at Flamingo and the Trop. But I believe Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. But from what I've heard, because it's the first main exit you get off coming in from California, supposedly and the airport, it's the busiest intersection in the United States. So it's kind of cool being there, and of course being across the street from a legend and somebody I grew up watching, David Copperfield. It's such an honor, you know what I mean? Because it's pretty cool. What are the chances? A kid from Vancouver, Canada, still hanging in there in Vegas.
Murray, the critics can say what they like. You're a survivor, you're still at it, and you'll be appearing 6 days a week, 7 p.m. Thursdays and Saturdays and 5 p.m. Sunday through Wednesdays, dark Fridays at the Laugh Factory at Tropicana Hotel and Casino. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks so much. And you have a great week, all right?